BBR 94.
I thought you were going to say welcome every Fred.
Yep. Only Fred's
Any
listen to
friend
this.
of mine.
Wait, who's that talking? That's not the regular slubs. It's Shannon, the man, the myth, the legend, from YouTube, and
Tis no schlub, tis no jub. It's Shannon.
you've seen him in all your favorite album videos in the comments. He's always out in the wild.
Yeah, I see him out in the wild all the time.
Yeah, like
there you
in
go.
the
Popping
Maya.
off.
He's Roman.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to you before, Dan, but maybe it bears repeating. When I find myself in the wild, I never know what the fuck I was talking about. I read my own comments and I'm like, what? I don't usually. I'm like, what does that even make sense? Like,
It's
I
fine.
think,
That's how I feel.
someone- I
We
don't
listen
know.
to our episodes.
oh no.
And not make sense.
If nothing else, it's kind of like if I run across one of my own comments, I'm like, oh, I like this album for X reason. So
Yeah, instead of just a like in those like videos, you gotta
yeah,
comment.
I never look at my liked videos. Yeah. So it's like a placeholder, but I'm glad that to bump into you guys.
Well, it's sort of like, or not an anomaly. I know a lot of people who like come across your comments and shit. They're like, "Who's the Shannon guy?" So we had to get you on.
Are you serious?
Yeah, seriously.
This is probably the
People from the Terminus Discord. They're like,
Oh my
we had
God.
like a Shannon appreciation conversation like sometime last year.
well, it's got to be the flimsiest premise to get on the show, but I'm not gonna look sideways at it. I'll take it.
No, man,
It's a
you
win.
seem to like a lot of the same shit that we do, and even shit that we don't know and we would like the record you picked.
Yeah, that's so great to hear because I like to, I don't know, I like to spread it around. I like to spread it around, especially if it's something that I'm into. I want to find the next person, And actually, where I live and my social circle, that's not even really a thing. Like, this is probably the first conversation about metal I've had with other metalheads.
You're not missing much. Other
Not in my life, but
other guys are like, who's that? Oh, okay, whatever. Let me put on some
yeah,
thrash.
it's not. I can't even.
Slayer.
I can't even get to that point. Can't even get to that point.
Just gotta.
But
Yeah, good to have you here, though.
Awkward silence.
hold up.
All right, there
Yeah.
you.
Oh, there
back.
he is.
Sorry, I had a palsy. I had accidentally backed out. So yeah, bear with me. I'm barely used to having a conversation on the phone.
No, you're good. I thought it was gonna be like an AI voice or something that was in the from the comments, or like a text to speech that we're gonna be.
Fred thought you
What
were
if I
going
came out
to
with
have
just-
an Australian accent for some reason.
I was
Oh, fuck.
hoping.
I
Can you
couldn't
at
come
least
out with
pretend?
like an anonymous, QAnon voice.
You seem to have some kind of accent. What's going on there?
That's a California accent.
Is that a California accent? Do I have a California accent? Let's
All right, he's back.
wait for him.
I'm just gonna put my phone down so I try not to do that again. No, that's a California, born and bred, Northern California.
Northern California, okay.
Well, I was born in Martinez, but yeah.
Yeah,
Never really been up there. I don't know that there is like a Southern California accent anymore at all. Well, maybe the accent now is just like fucking cholos or something.
What are you talking about, brah?
Bruh. Well, that's the way like Zoomers talk. They're like, bruh. They're always like whining
Yeah,
and
it's just-
like they talk black, but they're whining. I don't know.
They're talking light skin.
Yeah, I think it's.
They're doing that
been
light
weird.
skin talk. Yeah.
No, I guess the stereotype is speaking like a surfer, I guess. But I think in one of Joe Rogan's comedy specials, he's like, "Well, we just pronounce all our words and syllables like correctly." For the California accent.
Well, I live in a Mexican household, so but I don't think I've picked up any accent from that.
So Shannon is a rocker fool.
I am.
So what's
don't know
oh, well, go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say I don't know if you remember the band Dungeon Crypt, that like solo project from the Czech Republic.
No, absolutely. I was so
I ended up
pleased that-
releasing their CD because I found them on one of your playlists. I was like, oh, this band.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember hearing Fred say he read a comment that said, "Stay out of my record collection," and then he was like, "So I went through his record collection and
Oh yeah, yeah.
this band."
Yeah, I do the opposite of. I have like a fucking defiance disorder. Whatever you tell me not to do, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind.
Don't go
No, that
my
was
collection, boy.
out of all the things to pull out, that was probably good instincts.
That pull-out game was strong.
Yeah, I was kind of flush with cash for a minute last year, and I kind of forgot, but I was like, I want to buy this, but I did. But
Yeah, we sell it for a whopping $5.
Oh yeah.
yeah, what did that guy say when you contacted him? He was all for it.
Yeah, I think he immediately was like, "All right, let's do it." Because he had a different project too that was kind of similar, a little bit more power metal-ish and like black metal vocals. It's like almost the same dichotomy. It's like black metal, or like black metal vocals, like power metal instruments, and then his other band was like kind of heavy metal instruments with like death metal vocals. It was pretty much the opposite for like each thing.
Hmm.
That's
Kind of staying in the power metal,
Okay.
heavy metal realm.
Well, I kind of appreciated his the dungeon crypt theme of a prehistoric or Cro-Magnon
Yeah, what the hell was it
adventures,
called?
Paleozoic, I guess.
Paleozoic Adventures. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and
That was a
and
fun
there's
release.
actually
Though.
I didn't realize he had more releases than was aware of. I checked out some other ones too.
Yeah, he had that,
Under
and I think
Dungeon
it's,
Crypt.
yeah, his other project's called like Cave Blind, I think.
Cave Blind.
Cave Blind, yeah.
Hey, Caveborn.
That Cave Blind. That's him with the wizard T-shirt.
I'm gonna have to get. Okay, hang on. Let me get my pencil out. Check that out.
See, this is what all the listeners should be doing. You should have your pencils and notebooks ready to go.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because
Shannon.
we've had people like in the comments say, "Can you pinpoint every band that you said?" It's, no, we already did
Yeah.
the show. That's your job.
Fuck
you
off.
do that.
It's recorded. You can rewind.
Exactly. You rewind. We're not doing that. What? You got nothing to do? I got to get my balls looked at by a fucking Filipino lady.
Yes, tell us about that.
Oh, I got an ultrasound on my balls today because like my ball
Congrats.
was hurting.
So it was only one hurting. Do they ultrasound both or just the one?
Oh, the lady checked them both out. She put some like
fair
gel
enough.
on there, and I'm like, uh-oh, like stay cool here.
Yeah, like, my balls don't swell up. Come on, please.
Thank God it's not a mammogram situation.
They squeeze them.
Ow!
They put them in a fucking like.
Put them in a
compressor.
vice. Got my balls in a vice here.
No, they just gently fill for
Literally.
lumps.
Gently.
Gingerly, yeah.
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 Gingerly touch our tips.
But I was gonna say
Touch our tips.
with our
Role
So
models.
with our show, it's like we or at least me, I'm like, all right, I know it's a banger when Shannon comments in it.
Yeah,
There's
we
like,
high five when we see a Shannon comment.
yeah, there's like sometimes where there's none. I'm like, oh man, you.
We fucked
High
up.
five,
yeah, I don't
dolphin
know
dive.
if that's that might not be a good rubric to go by because I don't always comment, but I usually do listen.
Just tell us. So
do listen.
just let us know you're there. No.
Yeah. Just,
I'm here.
Just comment okay.
I might start because sometimes I gotta restrain myself. I'm like, I don't have anything to say just because I just noticed that you dropped a video. I don't need to chime in necessarily. So
Hit
sometimes I
the
don't.
just ring that bell, hit the subscribe button, and like and comment.
And share it
Does
with your
ringing the
friends.
bell really help anyone out? Because
I have no idea.
What the hell is ringing the bell? What does that even mean?
It's like it notifies you when they drop a
Yeah.
video.
I think
I
that's
pretty
just
much
like,
don't.
yeah, I don't know what that
It
does.
might help you get your video up in the algorithm.
I don't even see the
I
bell.
don't-
Where the
I-
fuck is the bell? I don't even see that in the options.
I think it's on the channel.
Is it?
You have to like
Yeah,
hit the bell for the channel, so whenever any video drops, you get
I
notified.
never do it though because then it destroys my email. I'll just like get inundated with notifications.
Yeah, I get notifications every time I get a comment. But I try to
Yeah.
reply to most people. Sometimes people don't ask questions; they just like make statements. So I'll just kind of
Yeah.
give that a like.
I like what
Yeah,
you
I
said
think-
there. That's
Yeah,
Cool.
thank you for saying something.
We all like to.
But
be
yeah,
right.
you for
Shannon's probably
participating.
Shannon. I think you're probably the what would you even call
the
it?
the
Fucking-
model listener.
The model listener, yeah, the number one listener. You're not the oldest listener. I think that goes to Cock, who we had on a couple times.
All right, yeah.
Who's
yeah.
a
I'm
mysterious
not
guy.
the oldest, but I am the eldest.
Are you
Shannon-
are you the eldest?
Shannon,
are you elder than Fred?
He's the Barney to our most
Yes.
tavern.
You're
Yeah.
elder than
Fred-
Fred. Yeah, I remember you said something about
Fred's a pup.
up.
Fred's a pup.
He's a pup. Huh?
Yeah, he's
I'm
a
glad to
young
hear
buck
it.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I
God.
remember you made a comment saying that you were around for like the 80s death rock scene or something like that. I'm like, oh damn.
Oh yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. That's a long and winding gateway to extreme metal.
Yeah, I was gonna
So-
say what's the interesting life of Shannon? How'd you
Yeah,
get here?
we kind of need a backstory. You're still sort of a mysterious character.
Tell us what the Victorians were like.
Yes.
What was
the
metal like back
Georgians-
then?
Are you a collector, or are you a collector, or are you just an internet dweller?
I am. I was a hopeless collector up until around 2000,
Oh damn,
and
that's when Freddie started.
then I wasn't,
Yeah.
and then I haven't been. But it's mostly because I dropped out of, I don't know what you call it, collector circles, tape trading circles,
Mm.
and just on my own. I don't know. You guys are probably too. You're not too young, but I don't know if you remember. There was not much. There's not much going on metal wise that you would know about if you just lived in, say, Central California in the late 90s, early 2000s. And since most of my contact was with people through the mail and like friends that I would constantly be sort of piling shit on, like, oh, check this out, check this out, check this out. I love cassette tapes for some, I don't know why, but for some reason I like the format, I like the culture, I like the aesthetic, and I was into dubbing tapes anyways. And I basically would make compilations for friends and sometimes tape trading correspondence, but
Lucky
I
bastards.
probably hundreds of. I've probably made hundreds, probably maybe hundreds and hundreds. I don't know. I made a lot of mixtapes for people over the years. Just kind of. If
Wonder-
I liked you back then I would probably try to get you to like something that you would not normally want to like. But
I wonder how
felt
much those
strongly about it.
those mixtapes are selling on Discogs.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
The Shannon tapes.
I do have some. I don't know, but it kind of. I think it kind of came out of that, and well, you know, I had a weird, not a weird job, but I had a job in the late '90s, mid and late '90s. I worked for this like weird company that was based in San Francisco now, or then they were based in San Francisco, probably possibly still are, probably still around. But it was half old school Cleveland mob and half Filipino by marriage, and they kind of had like an empire. They had like a lot of various businesses and companies and subsidiaries and stuff. It was an adult video distribution hub or ring or whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
And I ran an adult video store in Stockton for this company for about 6 years, and it was interesting. And something about one day I was just kind of standing there, and this is like a I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with where I'm at geographically. I guess Dan, you said you're not, but it was pretty grim. It's kind of grim now. It's grim in a whole different way, but back then it was grim, like in a kind of a cartoonish way, like you're in the hood. And so it was like lively. It was an interesting job. Customers were interesting, whatever.
A lot of Raider fans coming through, huh?
Yeah. I can't. Actually, it's kind of where I got my crash course in hip hop and like old school funk music. In that time period, and my coworkers, my employees, and they turned me onto that, and I tried to turn them onto this stuff. And
They're like, Shannon, this shit's fucking weird, bro.
that is exactly what they said. They're like, this white dude, this is fucking crazy. But
bro, just listen to Too Short.
I was yeah, exactly. Too Short, RBL Posse, The Click, E40, all that stuff. And I tried to reciprocate the best I could. And also because of the nature of the business and the fact that my store was probably at the company I worked for, they had like they probably had like 20 or 30 stores just in Northern California, and they had them all over other states too.
Damn, horny
and
motherfuckers
Australia,
up there.
And Hawaii. It's a lot. It was a lot, dude. That was back then. It was literally, I think it was like printing money because there was no internet. Anybody that wanted materials, they had to come through like an actual brick and mortar.
You got to go out. You got to go out in public and get it. You got to show your face.
And I mean, dog, it's crazy. Everything was on VHS tapes. Okay, everything was on video, VHS.
Fast forward.
Yeah. So. But I used to always the mailman would come in once a day and drop off some mail, and because I was always kind of trying to fucking hack my job or try to figure out how to do something while I was doing something else. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm trapped here for 8 hours, but I would try to find a way to like chew through some like books or something, read or whatnot while I was there, work on something else besides just that. And at some point I was like, it'd be cool if some of this mail getting dumped off was for me. So I just started writing everybody, like I wrote Mortis, I wrote Exhumed, I just wrote any band address I would come across.
How did you usually come across these addresses? Through like fanzines or
they were coming
other
to
cassettes and things?
They would come in the store. No, just kidding.
Well, put a pin in that, because actually I do have something to say about that. But I must have gotten it. It was probably the tail end of fanzines, because I don't really remember too many of them. I remember there was one called Brutalized. This guy Phil put out, and that guy was solid. That guy has actually sent me like a lot of canonical death and black metal that I probably wouldn't have found out about. And he had great penmanship, so it was always a pleasure to get cassettes from him. And but also there was like some kind of semi-legit magazines back then called, like, there was one called The Pit, and there was a few others. They were kind of glossy on the cover, but they would have a lot of demo reviews. So basically, I just looked for reviews with addresses. And in the beginning, I was just hitting them up and I think trying to get some stickers or something. And everyone was pretty kind. And I found a couple guys that were down to trade music. I was just basically trying to avoid buying anything at that time. So, so yeah, pretty soon I was like kind of chatting to these guys. And I found a couple. I was really into noise, industrial kind of stuff. It's really my quote unquote background is more like that, and it's kind of why I think I might have a slightly different appreciation or a way to appreciate metal than other people maybe who kind of came into it through different way. Because a lot of the stuff that I was into is more like art, like on the art side, and I just kind of saw it as art, performance art, transgressive art, and metal kind of like slots right in along that category. Even though maybe it doesn't have aspirations of being high art or anything. So like back then I was kind of dipping my toes in the metal pool thanks to these zines and stuff, but the 10 years before that I had been on a record buying spree for about 6 or 7 years, I guess. And so I have a lot of vinyl. Probably have maybe just a few hundred like I would grab if there was a fire in the house, but I probably have a couple thousand records.
Damn.
But the stuff I was into was like I was into Current 93 and Clock DBA, Coil, Death in June, and Leibach, stuff like that.
I've heard some stuff from Current 93. I feel like I'd like them a bit more. I've heard like 1 or 2 songs from them.
Yeah, it's amazing how there is a crossover, and I had no fucking idea at the time. I didn't realize that these were all spiritual sort of kindred. Like it blew my mind. I'm going off topic, but it blew my mind when I heard that like Euronymous was a fan of like goth music and and black metal in general. Not opposed to it. Like the first time I heard that Disembowelment CD, was it Transcendence of the Peripheral or Into the Peripheral or something?
Yep.
And there's literally like a passage in there that just sounds like it is Dead Can Dance. Like I was like, did they just rip a Dead Can Dance sample, or are they doing Dead Can Dance now? It was like really tripped me out, and so I've come to realize that there is parallel evolutions going on, and I didn't really connect at all at the time, but because I was into this type of stuff, I didn't really have critical faculties to like analyze like metal music because because I'm so fucking old, guys. I grew up in an era where it was just rock. Everything is just rock. It's like rock or pop, There's it didn't really go beyond that. And if it was rock, it was being like fucking hammered into your head on any radio you would come across anywhere, any business, or you turn on the radio. Mm-hmm. And you're getting hammered with like all the old hits, and it's not great. But maybe it gave me some kind of latent appreciation for like rock foundations, because when I hear metal bands that are like extreme, but they dip their toes into like some rock and roll, for lack of a better word, it really appeals to me. I'm really surprised how much I like it.
So you must love death and roll, huh?
I love it. I mean, depending on who we're talking about, but yeah, it makes me very happy to hear it, or just to hear someone bust a bluesy solo out in a death metal song. I'm just like, some people are not into that shit, but like, there's that Incubator album, Mick Gilroy, the Housefly. Are you
Yeah,
guys familiar?
yeah, I'm familiar
Yeah.
with that one. I kind of forget the way it sounds. I remember it's sort of weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like kind of thrashy or something.
it's kind of thrashy. It's kind of groovy. It's death metal, but like there's like a one, but I don't know, about midway through, it just breaks into "Excuse Me While I Kiss the Sky." It's like for no reason I could tell, but it sounds so fucking good in that context. That I just wanted to
It's
give
one
that
album I
band a
can
hug.
safely say sounds exactly like what the title suggests.
Yeah, I always wondered about that
Yes,
title.
yeah,
Like, how do they come up with that?
seriously. I do not know, but Fred's not wrong.
The artwork looks interesting. It
So
almost looks like a
yeah,
70s prog kind of artwork. Like
Yeah, like
Yes
a
or
Yes
yeah,
something.
album cover.
Yeah, it does look like that.
yeah. I got a pretty
Weird
solid
stuff.
foundation in Prague too, unfortunately. And
No, prog is cool, dude. I like a lot of that stuff.
yeah, well, it's come to seem more relevant now. I mean, I have most of those records just from being around and stuff, going to thrift stores. But um, it's cool to see that it lives on in metal in like an interesting way. But
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I don't really see too many metal guys that are actually interested in old 70s prog. I mean, at some point I did, but nowadays it seems like a lot of people kind of don't care anymore.
If it ain't incantation, I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, there was a while where that was just kind of I got more interested in things like that, like things that weren't metal at all. Things like
oh yeah,
70s prog and like 70s like B-rated hard rock like Dust and like Rare Bird and shit like
right.
that.
Fred's just like shaking his head right now.
Not metal. What's that?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
about,
exactly.
Do you listen to Budgie at all?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like some Budgie. I like that first album
Yeah.
and I think mainly the first Budgie album with like Homicidal, Suicidal and what else did they fucking have? Guts. They had those songs.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good stuff.
There's a ton of stuff around that era that, man, it's pretty fucking solid. Interesting. But yeah, the hard rock thing, I thought I was allergic to hard rock for the longest time because I had just been overdosed on it just from the background radiation being alive at that time.
I think I did overdose on hard rock. I kind of I don't really listen to too much of it anymore, but I feel like some of the good stuff I could probably still come back to. I think anything that's too bluesy kind of turns me off, and I don't really I kind of hate blues nowadays. I don't want to hear it
Right, right.
for the most part. If it's like a certain type of like, if I imagine a bar rock band, I don't want to hear it. I'm kind of over
What
that.
about like a Junior Kimbrough? Heard that guy?
Who?
Bro, Junior Kimbrough? Kimbrough.
Junior Kimber.
It's pretty interesting.
Oh, this is like is
Super laid back.
this is like blues.
Yeah.
I never
But
really
it had a
listen to
certain
stuff like
flavor.
this. I'll check it out. I don't know how much I personally would get from this type of stuff, but yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Well, because of my interest in like what industrial, or like by industrial I just mean like first wave industrial, if there's such a thing, and and also a lot of experimental classical music and tape music experiments from like the 1950s, that era. I had a strong interest in that stuff, and there's a bunch of DIY shit flying around everywhere back then during this tape trading, and everyone was there wasn't a lot of uh, gatekeeping, I guess. It was kind of like everything kind of like how people talk about the early days of death metal, which I wasn't really paying attention to at that, the early '90s, but
Hmm.
you hear about like it's kind of all not necessarily codified yet, and everyone kind of chats with everyone else. And so at some point I was like, well, I wanted to start a label, because cassette label for noise, or I think I called it war noise. Cause yeah, it's one of like maybe like sort of lean towards Merzbow. Like I wasn't really trying to dictate like what my label was going to be, but I kind of was. I was kind of trying to silo some people into this people that would be on the same wavelength. And sadly, my label is really like I'm actually looking. I just found this the other day. I'm looking at the first and only release on my label, which was called Advanced Weapons Technologies. Which is funny because if you had a record label, I don't know, anything after 9/11, that might have been a weird thing to be mailing shit off to and getting mail under Advanced Weapons Technologies. But this was like a little bit before that. So, and
what was
and
the
everyone
release?
was kind of. It's called Futuristic Organ Harvest on
Is there a way to
Advanced
find
Weapons
this?
Technologies. I doubt it's on YouTube, dude. I really doubt it. I don't even know if you can find it on the internet in general.
Futuristic organ harvest.
Yeah, there's 100 copies of this particular release.
Oh, and there's a Shannon comment on it. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like a liver transplant video.
Yeah, so, and I was pretty happy with it. But while I was collecting these tracks from various countries, I realized what I was really excited about, because there's a couple of metal bands on here, or you could call them metal. I realized that I was so enamored with some death metal releases that would have like homemade intros, you know, like not like a sample from Hellraiser, but like an actual like something they made that was kind of like an ambient intro or whatever, what have you. That I was like, that would be fucking great if I could just concentrate on. This is dumb, but releasing comp tapes with metal bands doing like this experimental noise kind of thing. And I kind of focused on that, and there was going to be a second comp, and it was going to have quite a few metal bands on it. I even had some of the submissions before. Had some tumultuous events in my life, and that label fell apart. But like Machetazo sent me some stuff. Exhumed from San Jose sent me some stuff. Who else? I'm not sure. Maybe I think Fermento.
I think Shannon with the hot take of liking intros.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I don't like them now, but as a really get annoyed sometimes. But as a standalone, I thought it was an interesting concept.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is an interesting idea.
And I didn't realize that there was probably already lots of bands at the time that were already doing like full noise albums, or somehow finding a way to marry noise and metal.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about the cold meat industry a couple episodes back. I think maybe that of plays in that idea.
Yeah, I think you're right. See, I was into cold meat industry at the time, but it wouldn't have occurred to me that there were metal personalities involved with it, you know?
I think there might have been. I don't exactly know. I know that I know that like Nuclear War Now did some kind of reissue for some of these comps.
Yeah,
Something
so
like that.
I was just too dumb to realize that I was pretty close to it already. Oh my god!
What was that?
Hang on one second. That's my stuff.
Oh shit!
Another hour.
Oh, whoa! This is great content.
Whoa,
It
wow.
sounded like the house fell down.
I'm sequestered in my base camp.
That was
Is
almost as
your
crazy
base
as the
camp
time
like
that
empty pop cans stacked to the ceiling that you just knocked over?
it's
Yeah.
like
Pretty much.
what's his name, the fucking the Tourette's guy when he has all those beer cans in the basement.
Yeah. Bob Saget.
Well, I'm in the garage, but I had to excavate like a place to be in the garage.
Hmm.
Sis, you're out in the corner.
Yeah, I had to like carve out a spot. And there's a cat out here trying to annoy me, but yeah, man. So yeah, actually, that first Advanced Weapons Technologies release, it did have I feel like I had a couple. There were so many small and maybe fly by night. Like I don't know if they ever did anything past the demo, but there was a lot of bands from the states I was talking to, like Pennsylvania. Like I don't know if you guys have talked about Black Massive Absu or
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Gonkulator.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gonkulator
Yeah,
too.
I don't remember talking to those guys, but I know I talked to a lot of people adjacent to that, and Samuel Bronkowitz and the NSRC Syndicate. That might have been a Pennsylvania joint. Anyways, I felt like it was worth my while. It was interesting to pursue, and I definitely feel bad about the bands that sent me stuff from the second tape, which was gonna be pretty fire, I think, and I didn't put it together. And eventually, that just fell off. But yeah.
Were you in any like any bands or just like involved with like a label?
No. Well, actually, I did. There is a track for me on here, I think, but I'm sure it's probably not memorable. What my main interest back then, if I could have got it together and have a project, it would have been something similar to like the Musique Concrète from the 50s, which probably still exists today under a different appellation, but it was just like basically chopping up tapes, whether that meant actually chopping them with a razor blade and taping them and making loops and stuff, or
Sounds like something Little Vince would
I had
do.
a couple of 4 tracks and stuff like that, and I would stack tape decks on top of each other to get to do stuff, and to like I would record a sample of something onto like from a cassette or whatever to another cassette, and then take that cassette and play it simultaneously with the first cassette so that I could get 2 stacked on top of another one, and I would just keep stacking and stacking, and just fucking experiments like that, man. I'd spend like hours just like chopping up a Slayer riff to try to make something, just to try to make something out of that riff that would be like a 40-minute tape, you know?
That's interesting.
And, yeah, and then also at some point I
was gonna say dissecting music a new name.
Yeah.
Or new meaning.
Yeah. So I really I don't know, I just really like the contrast between low and high art. That's usually where I feel like the fun is at. And so there's something to be said, like I know a lot of metal bands, they're not trying to make art, but honestly, like I'm speaking very broadly, I think it's like some of the highest human achievements has been some of these bands. I think it's gonna last forever. Like I don't know how far it can go. Like I don't know how much further the arms race in extreme and brutal music, like where it could really go from here.
I think there's definitely ways to go. I think people are kind of trapped in like these weird cookie cutter kind of mentalities.
Yeah. But I think like already, like even though like we're in the 21st century and it's all going on, it's going to be going on after we're gone. But I already feel like it's something very notable. Like it's very strange. Like when you like I don't even know how to explain it to myself. Like the vocals You know, like like how would another person that came along, another, I don't know what, the future, an alien culture, whatever. Like I don't know what they would make of it. It's already so audacious to me that I'm like, you know what I mean? Like how did we get here?
Yeah.
Because I'm still looking at it from a rock and roll sort of standpoint, because
Yeah,
these are
extreme
bands
metal.
that-
Some of it is pretty fucking out there. You look at like Portal and like Antediluvian or like any kind of
Yeah.
extreme brutal death metal band. It's like what is this fucking noise? What is this
I mean-
gobbledygook?
brother, we went from Joe Cocker and like some like kind of strained, kind of like
Turundagore.
yeah, strained emotive vocals to like bands that just have gone
Cricket
way
noises.
beyond gurgles. I was just gonna say crickets. You read my mind. Yes.
Yeah.
Crickets. We're at crickets right now. We went from the gutturals to the gurgles to inhales to crickets.
Yeah, we're over the animals. We're just going for bug sounds now.
Yeah. Right. Which is really, and it's already such an alienating conceit that making it more alien is pretty crazy. But I love it. I mean, it's
Yeah, well,
interesting
the
to
more
watch.
the more alien stuff has seemed to gotten more popular in I don't know, maybe the past like 20 years. Say like now, a lot of people say revenge is like girlfriend metal.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of at a strange
True that.
point.
Yeah, they just dropped an album too recently.
They did. I was listening to it. They got interesting riffs. Revenge sometimes.
I was gonna say if they come around and play, I wouldn't mind seeing them.
Yeah, I'd go. I mean, we saw fucking Death Worship for like a minute, but my tummy was hurting, so I had to leave.
Open for Revenge.
My tummy hurts. Yeah, let's just open for Revenge. We can do that. They'd probably like it. I wonder if they go, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, they'll see my Axis tattoo and be like, wait.
Wait a minute, dude.
What?
Yeah, that Axis of Advance. I'm still investigating.
Oh yeah, you haven't
Really
checked them
glad
out
that-
before?
I hadn't until probably until I talked to you guys.
Oh,
I'd seen
man.
them, but I'm a terrible like just at least to start with. I'm just like an album cover snob. You know, I'll be like, oh, it doesn't look interesting. Or
Yeah, you can judge the books by the cover.
yeah,
I kind
you
of like
can,
their album
but
covers.
I'm wrong so many times. I'm wrong so many times. You know, I find myself going back to like the least promising looking album cover and be pretty blown away a lot of times.
It's probably the reissue cover.
Especially demos.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
kidding.
dude, the reissue cover of Kekal, I did not like it at all.
Oh, let me look at that right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't
one
seen
we're
that.
talking about.
Wait, that's not
Like,
the
the first
jungle
one is-
one. Is it?
That's the original, but
Yeah, I like that one. That
which
one
I
looks
think
cool.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, there's this other one too, where it's like the lake. That one looks pretty good too. Let's see,
I think that might be this-
2014.
Yeah, 2004.
That's the one with like the kind of how would you even call this? The like cathedral art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a William Blake painting or something.
It doesn't look terrible, I don't think.
It looks like
Good call.
God reaching to Adam, but missed and put his finger in the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call, Paul. Is that actually William Blake? I'm
It looks
No, that was
exact-
Frank that said that.
No, it does totally look like a William Blake painting.
I read a book of his once called the Book of Urizen. Urizen? Like Urizen?
Oh, it's like
It's pretty
poetry.
interesting. It's like, yeah, it's like poetry on one side and color plates that he made on the other. It's pretty fire.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go to the Getty and see an exhibit of like all shit. Really,
Oh, wow.
really great shit. Yeah.
That's
Paul's an
wild,
art
yeah.
boy. Paul, when did you become an art boy?
Hell
Was
yeah.
it after high school?
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. Because you
Would
went
you call
from
yourself
like
an art snob?
ignorant caveman metalhead to like sophisticated college boy.
ignorant, art-loving caveman.
Yeah, transformative years.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do the opposite.
Go
Trying
from
to
art boy to
devolve.
caveman. Yeah, it'll be like the
Definitely.
Super Mario Brothers movie where they goes into the de-evolution chamber thing.
Yeah, I'm
De-evolve.
telling you, if you have some background like that, or just peruse that stuff, it gives you a different look on extreme metal, I think, because I don't know, like I said, like to me, it seems kind of like it's art, you know, like the most interesting performance art, you know, would be one of these bands playing at an art show, you know,
Yeah, I think
without doing anything particularly different, just
putting on the
just being
show.
themselves.
Yeah, I think you would get along with Weasel from that last episode.
Yeah, he was an arty guy.
Yeah, because he kept mentioning metal as like folk art, like
Oh,
just
it's
like
interesting.
performative and shit like that. So I
Yeah.
think you guys would be two peas in a pod.
They'd hit it
I was
off.
definitely enjoying him talking about jazz,
Yeah, me too.
free jazz and stuff. Did you check out any of that Albert Eiler?
Yeah, he was sending me some links to some shit, so I've been going through it periodically, and it's all fucking, like he said, basically playing at like such an intensity, like comparable to like extreme metal and shit, but they're just like playing these like acoustic instruments and shit.
Yeah.
It's weird. And brass shit.
When he was comparing Cecil Taylor to Grind, or the technique to Grind, he wasn't wrong, you know.
Yeah. That little weasel.
So I think, yeah, if you cut your teeth on that, you're all good for anything else that comes along.
Yeah, cool stuff is just cool stuff. I think metal kind of just falls in that category
But
sometimes.
just the coolest stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, you know, it's other pretty cool music, and some of the arty stuff is pretty cool too. But yeah, Shannon, you seem to like a bit of everything, which is interesting.
Yeah.
At some point, is there any like was there any
Yes.
disinterest in metal where you just kind of weren't listening to it all?
Yes. Oh, you mean like when I just stopped listening to metal in general?
Yeah, or I mean, because you seem to know like everything about every fucking band. I see you in every fucking comment section there.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm a bottom feeder, you know. I just, I think like around the 2000 and from like 2000 to 2014, I really wasn't listening to metal, or I'd stopped really accruing new metal, so I was just kind of living on whatever I had gotten from tape trading and borrowing stuff from people to make dubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I might have already done my time with staying away from metal. There was a point where I was doing just like electronic and prog and shit like that.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that stuff, I don't know, even like around 2008, maybe I started finding, I was like, oh, okay, the internet is a thing. Maybe 2006, 2007, but and I was finding like some stuff online, but it was just off of blogs, and it was really it could be any, it was hit or miss. It was like, were you guys talking about a band called Corpiclani or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were
folk
big
metal,
at that
yeah.
time. Yeah, like 2008.
Yeah, I found them, and was there another one called Kruachan?
Kuro-chan, yeah.
I don't know.
Irish band.
So and I think I was checking out like some epic stuff too, but I just, you know, there wasn't really anywhere to look, or I didn't know where to look, I should say. And fuck, dude, probably YouTube was the reason I got back into metal. When I realized that you could find an entire album on YouTube, which was probably not.
Yeah, honestly, YouTube was like a huge part of just me discovering music. Probably Paul too. I think a lot of people our age, like
Yeah,
late
and
20s, early 30s. I think YouTube was just kind of there. as like, when you're getting started, it's like, oh, I can find everything right here, right now.
Yeah, and so like the first thing I did was look up everything that I knew about but could never afford or didn't have, and yeah, I haven't. I've been fuck. I've been. It's pretty much been all metal since then, I guess. I take little breaks. Um, but I probably won't come up from air for a while.
And you're also a
enjoying it.
movie guy, right? How is
enjoying it down here.
yeah, how
Yeah.
often are you watching movies and TV? Because it seems like you know everything about everything, which is kind of crazy.
It's you will too. After another decade or two, that's all it is. Yeah, I fucking love movies, dude. You know what? I probably love movies for the same reason I love music, and that's I grew up without electricity. And so the novelty of watching TV, which was possible, but it would when I was young, it would involve like my dad telling me to go get the car battery out of the car and bring it into the house so we could hook up a TV to it, and then we'd watch television shit on like a little black and white TV. So when I got older, yeah, having like media on tap was really something. And I'm probably like you guys. I met people. I came to this part of California after I graduated. I was around 16, and I just fell in with a group of like-minded people, and yeah, like we were all art, movies, photography, music, just all that shit. Doing performance art ourselves sometimes, and I had I put on a art exhibition at my apartment once, and just I was into it, still am. So yeah.
What do we expect from Shannon performance art there?
Man, fucking. It's embarrassing now to think about it. I remember like one time, I had like I had a Hofner bass, like a Paul McCartney bass. My friend.
Hey, I have a
was
Hofner
playing
too.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend was playing that. My girlfriend at the time was playing a clarinet. Had another friend that was singing like the Catholic Ave Maria. And then I was like reciting poetry or something while I was holding and we had, I don't know, it was stupid, dude. It was really stupid.
So you guys are just making a bunch of noise.
Yeah, we're just making noise for the love of it, And yeah, I did it. Fuck. I'm sure it doesn't stand the test of time.
Should recreate that and record it, and then we'll upload it to the channel.
It'll be our next Bunsen burner release.
Yeah.
That would be awful. That would be awful.
No, it would be awesome.
And I used to go around with fuck, what do you call it?
Camcorder?
Like a newscaster mic, like a little clip-on. Like I had like an Iowa stereo recording Walkman. And I forgot to mention I was really into making like field recordings too. At parties or like just around. I had a couple weird jobs, weirder than the other job I mentioned. I worked for the state of California at the old Stockton State Hospital, and I would make recordings there sometimes while I was going about my work. I was either making recordings of people, which it's probably not that cool actually to record someone without letting them know. But also there were awards of the state, and it was literally like it was pretty intense and bizarre. And so I just kind of wanted to document some of it. I thought I would use it later just as like I would treat it somehow or turn it into something. And then I worked at a care home for like mostly elderly people. And by then I had like a better setup. I had like a couple times I brought like I was into using reel-to-reel recorders too, so I brought like it's like a Sony reel-to-reel to work with a Bell and Howell shotgun microphone, and it was kind of like just recording, letting people talk and record it, and I have never really done much with it, but it is kind of fascinating, just because they're elderly and they had a lot of interesting stuff to say. And so yeah, I guess field recordings is another thing of interest.
I think Shannon was sampling life.
Sampling life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sound anthropologist.
I like that idea. I actually like that idea. That's going in the vault. I might implement that myself too.
Life samples.
Life samples, yeah. Put it in the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have got the.
I don't know how much I personally can do with artsy music. I don't think any of our stuff has been artsy so far. But
I strong disagree. But
well, I don't know. I just see it as like riff here, riff there. I'm not exactly sure what the fuck we're doing.
yeah,
Let's see what Shannon has
We'll
to
keep
say.
doing it.
We'll don't mind a glazing here and there. No.
Yeah, Paul
yeah,
wants to
keep doing
glaze.
it, man. Keep doing it. But my first extreme metal that I got my
Hey, I'm
mitts
just kidding.
on was probably this band called Excruciating Pain.
Oh, I remember
Might
them.
be
They had the
familiar.
funny vocals.
They had those vocals, dude, and I was smitten by them.
Yeah, they
And
always seemed like yeah, they seemed like a band nobody would ever give a shit about. But I still remember Excruciating
Yes.
Pain.
Yeah, the album Thou Shalt Choose.
That's the one that has like
famous-
it looks like a skeleton kind of exploding or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of not a great cover, but maybe not a great tape. It's what famously on the JL America. But yeah, if you knew me back then, I doubtlessly was. No doubt was pretty excruciating pain on the compilation tape that I'd be handing you. Because
That's Thou Shalt
I didn't have
Choose,
anything to
right?
compare it. Yes.
Okay.
And I listened to it the other day. I was like, "Is this really as bad as I think it probably is?" And it kind of holds up, at least to me. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah,
it
if
probably
I
was.
remember correctly, I remember people saying that this was really like D-list kind of death metal.
Yes, yeah,
Like in terms of like
Which is-
what they were doing, their riffs were kind of like lackluster a little bit.
yeah. I would believe that. That's probably a fair assessment.
I would be
But,
interested to check them out again. It's been a while.
That's really my comfort zone. I'm like a caterpillar. I like to just chew through like C tier and maybe D tier albums.
I kind of feel
Um,
the same way about that German Mangled Torsos. I think all you guys probably remember
I
that.
fucking love that. I love those guys. I forget which one I like better. There's like two main ones. I like one of them quite a lot.
Yeah, there's the one everybody knows, and then there's I think it was called Godless.
Is that the one with the
The one
Japanese?
with the Chinese
script?
symbol on it. Yeah,
Chinese. Yeah. Okay.
Chinese, whatever that is.
Yeah. That one's good. They're both good. I feel like when you, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot to love in the C, B, C, and further down tiers. I mean, besides
Yeah,
the fact that it's
I
kind of
agree.
relative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just
There's a lot
seems
of,
more like unique and interesting rather than like the A-list
Yeah,
shit that's
hearing
like
the
the
same
same
kind
thing.
of bands over and over again.
Yeah, like I don't know if I should mention this, but like I've never listened to an Immolation album or an Incantation album.
Shannon,
That's actually interesting.
I've heard it. I've breezed around and I've heard some of it.
Better-
I kind of know what they're about.
better see
but
your
there's a lot
comments
of
in the videos later after this.
There's a lot of stuff that's like considered canon that I either was kind of like you, Dan, like kind of contrarian, like everyone was like these are the bands, and so I just kind of was like nah. All right, Relapse Records was going really strong when I was first getting into metal, and like so I'd kind of be turned off by like constantly getting ads or flyers and seeing stuff for the same few albums.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure I would love it. I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's still a ton of like classics that I haven't heard. So
Yeah, same here.
you know, even now, I'm still kind of I'm still learning about all this stuff, even though I've been listening to it for like 17 years now. You know, there's always still something to
Yeah.
learn, even at the surface. You know.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of what's the expression? Surplus jouissance. You know what I mean? Like
I think Fred does. The Frenchman.
I think it's well that's Lacan, but
Oh.
he bases that idea on I think Marx's theory of labor value.
Mm.
But it's basically normally it's like, you know, it's what your boss gets surplus jouissance. You know, he gets more out of his investment than he gets more out of whatever you're doing at your job than he's invested into it.
Yeah, I
There's
get a
like that
penny, he gets a
surplus.
dime.
Yeah, and Lacan calls it surplus jouissance, and it's like I feel that way with the B and C tiers. Your expectations are so low, and because you don't know who this band is or whatever, you don't know what to expect. And a lot of times you'll discover some great shit, and it'll really give you that joy, I think.
Yeah,
So I recommend
lately
everyone
I've been
scratch
discovering
around.
that like the mainstream bands, a lot of them are like really great. There hasn't been a
True.
whole lot of mainstream stuff that or like mainstream like death and black metal that I'm totally turned off by. Most of it's like, you know, I get it. It's like, oh, I understand why this is as big as it is. It's good.
I heard a new band the other day from New Mexico, and yeah, okay, I had the same. I'm like a snob in all different directions with metal. Like I like, oh, I don't want to hear anything that's new. I don't want to hear anything that looks too great or anything that looks stupid. Like it could be anything. For the longest time, I wouldn't listen to any band that started with the letter A. Because it was I had some bad experiences, you know, especially if it was like A and then an E, like Aeon or like Aether, or like it would a lot of times it would be some kind of I don't know what you'd call it, like gothic sort of metal stuff. I don't know, but I've come around on that, and I found some amazing bands that start with A. Surprise. But yeah, there's this new band, newish. They're called Sasquatch. Have you heard them?
Sasquatch?
Sasquatch.
Sounds like
a new
yeah,
one.
it's-
Sounds like a
Definitely a new one
Sasquatch,
for me.
like a Sasquatch sandwich.
Sasquatch
know.
sandwich? A Sasquatch?
I don't know where it falls on the charts, but
I don't know how to
it's
spell
kind
that.
of, SASQWYTH.
Sasquatch.
Which,
Yeah, it's like every letter
Yeah.
was like something you would not expect.
yeah, it's all wrong. I was getting pissed off at this name, so I was trying to look it up. I don't know. It's kind of seems sort of doomy with black metal vocals. I kind of don't hate it, you know.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Um,
Death, Doom. I'm looking at this
Yeah.
Earth 2 album cover. I don't like that. Let's see.
the band Earth too.
No,
I
the
remember
the full length from these guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now this is an interesting one because all these album covers are bad.
Right.
Which is
That
which
could
is the
be
one
a-
that you would recommend here?
I think it just came out. It kind of has like an ape or something on it. Kind of.
Coyote Dancer, is that it?
No.
Yeah, that is an ape
I
on it.
forget what it's called. Oh, maybe that is it then. What year did it come out?
It says 23.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably it.
All right, all the listeners are gonna check out Sasquatch.
Yeah. Don't blame me for
It's-
being not underwhelming.
That's such a name.
Man, speaking of getting joy out of releases, another thing I try not to. I find like the less I know about an album,
Mm-hmm.
the better. Really, the more the higher my chances are for enjoyment.
Yeah, the more people aren't talking about it, you don't know. What
Yeah,
to
that's why
expect.
that's why I get confused when people start talking about like this band member is doing this or has these views. Like, it never occurred to me to like
care.
to try to separate the art from the artist. That never occurred to me. It also never really occurred to me to connect the two. Like, I'm just like, it's just, you know.
I think
know.
that's a very modern thing for young people to kind of say, this guy is not okay. This guy, you know what this guy did? You know what he said? You know something? I don't actually give a shit what he did.
It's giving me pause because I'm like, well, let me look at us, not my heroes, but like people that I was stuff I was into, and I think they're all gonna fall on one side of that argument, and they're not. Maybe none of them are great people.
Yeah, if I found out any of my favorite bands were like murderers and rapists, nothing would change. I wouldn't care. They would still be my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Wouldn't give a shit. I'm afraid I wouldn't give a shit. In fact, I hope they're all murderers and rapists. How about that?
Otherwise, they're posers.
Yeah, otherwise they're posers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean that it is weird because the idea of transgression kind of went along with the album you're listening to, but
it might be kind of goofy for me to say this, but I think people who talk about those kinds of or people who are concerned about those kinds of things are they're attention seeking. And here we are broadcasting our phone calls. But fuck it, I don't imagine a whole lot of people are actually listening to this stuff. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that people listen to this. It's so long. These episodes are like, it's too long form. It really amazes me that people are listening to this.
Dude, when I saw the retrospective episode, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a nice long episode." Like this.
Shannon got all cozy.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being cozy with the
hang
podcast.
on, let me get my blanket.
Yeah, it's not only that. It's like I can go for a car. I can be in the car for a while. I can be at work for a while. I can kind of settle in, and I know I have something to listen to, because I feel like there's no worse feeling than not knowing what to listen to or not being excited to listen to anything, and you kind of have to just skim through crap. I kind of do that with music sometimes. I kind of do that with movies and TV, where I'm like, I don't really want to watch any of this crap. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern?
I think it's just you, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, it's just me? Alright. Well, then fuck it. What happened to Shannon? Did he go away?
Nah, he's there.
Okay.
Alright,
You guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Shannon, you want to get into the album after a little break?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Sounds good.
Alright, we'll be right back.
Oh, all this noise?
This is the Shannon Noise Project.
Yeah, this is Shannon Noise Project.
Here we go.
Make it the intro and outro.
Whoa! What the fuck?
Is this thing on?
Oh my god.
Alright.
Are we trapped in the fucking void here?
Wait. Oh no.
This sounds insane.
It's pissing me off.
Alright, guys, we're back from the testicle difficulties.
Testicle difficulties. Try not to get a boner.
So if you liked what you heard, try to track down one of Shannon's label's releases.
Yeah.
And you'll
Limited
get
to
more of
100
that.
copies.
Yeah, there might be one floating around. Speaking of which, I got that extra Glen Bronco, Dan. I have to get your address if you want it.
For what? I'm sorry.
Glen Bronco Symphony No. 6. At some point, you were talking about Glen Bronco, and I said I had an extra copy of Symphony No. 6.
I remember that.
I was talking about that?
So
Yeah.
someone give me an address, and I'll send it along.
Alright, so 123 Metal Street.
I'll send it to your.
123 Metal Avenue, right?
Or 666 Metal Boulevard.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll exchange addresses in the through email or something.
Email or whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, but
Yes.
During the break, I washed my hands in the bathroom, and then like I noticed my fucking flip flop was full of water, and then I looked down there, and the fucking like the fucking pipe like became separated, so it was just like dumping water onto the floor.
Fuck.
So that was pretty awesome. I got two. What's that?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say two quick things before we get started here. One, Shannon, have you ever seen The Stoned Age? You know what that is? The movie.
No.
I don't know if I've
I don't
ever
think
brought that movie up before on this show, but I just remembered. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what are some of my favorite movies? I'm like, how have I not thought of The Stoned Age in such a long time? It on the DVD
Yeah,
cover
check
it
it out.
says better than Dazed and Confused.
oh yeah,
And
you
you know
talked
what?
about
I
this.
agree. It is. Oh, maybe I have. Yeah. Well, Shannon should watch The Stoned Age, and so should all the listeners here.
I'll check
And the
it
other
out.
thing,
I like Dazed and Confused, alright?
this is better than Dazed and Confused. That's what it says on the box. So we know, it's true if it says it on the box. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, what can we do on the Bunsen Burner Recordings podcast as sort of a
Yeah, what would you like to hear?
yeah, well, at you as the number one. This is sort of a like a a focus group. What would you like to hear
One
more
person
of?
focus group.
Yeah, focus group. One person focus group.
Yeah, really focus.
It's a focus person,
Yep.
Focus man.
Focus.
aka an interview.
Yeah. What would you like to hear more of? What do you think we should do on this show to?
Or any ideas, we'll
I
do
would-
whatever you want.
Yeah, anything. We'll do
I would
whatever you
I would
want.
love if you ask him what do you want to hear more of, and he just answers Fred.
More Fred. Yeah. I think that's what everybody
Fred
wants.
only.
Everyone wants more Fred or Frank or whatever the hell your name is.
Frank.
I don't know. Maybe some of these
We got-
bands, maybe they don't deserve, or maybe deserve is the wrong word, but maybe they not necessary that they have an entire 2+ hour block just devoted to one album by a band. But it might be interesting to skim through some albums one time. Like, you might not know this, but the album we're talking about today is it has like a troubled ideological sort of background in that it's Christian
Oh, yeah,
Christian or
I'm
Christian
black.
adjacent.
Yeah.
It's unblack, yeah. And there's a, you guys may or may not know, there's a wild amount of surprisingly good and savage Christian bands from the last 20 years. You know,
No, I'm not really aware of much of it.
There's so much. Full
You gotta
disclosure,
throw out some names so
Christian-
people can start writing in their notebooks.
With pencils.
Yeah, let me look at my notebook. Find my notebook. Full disclosure: I used to sell Christian metal at my dad's had a music store. When I was, I don't know, back in the day, and like a guitar, instrument kind of music store.
Mhm.
And I was into tapes, music, and stuff, and so he gave me like a corner of it to order and sell Christian stuff. But what I was interested in just did not fucking exist. Like, it was nothing, dude. Nothing that I was aware of or that I could find. Like, there's a band called Saint. Not very good. There's,
I think, aren't they? They're like the heavy metal band, right?
yeah, kind of a heavy metal Christian band. There's like a few, but there's really it was almost nothing. It's depressingly nothing. And I guess, that was the late 80s. But since then, like, there was a couple. Like, I would actually recommend this band called The Lead from Florida.
The League?
And it's interesting. I wonder the lead, Lead,
The lead.
with like a hard line over the E or something. I don't know, but they're
Okay.
like a punk band, but I feel like they strayed into metal territory sometimes,
Mm.
and maybe even grindcore territory. But it's probably not going to blow your mind. But they were around, and that was one of the few bands that I could find at that point. And then I didn't really think about it,
Hardcore
until,
for Jesus.
So YouTube came.
Oh, they were on Rex
Yeah.
Records. Yeah, that makes sense. So Rex released a whole bunch
Yeah.
of Christian stuff. They had fucking Living
do
Sacrifice and
Mortification
Paramecium
too?
on there.
Right?
Oh yeah, Paramecium was
Yeah.
great. Forgot about them.
Yeah, I think I only know like
Yeah.
the
Hey.
like baby's first Christian metal bands like Mortification and Crimson Thorn and
Yep.
Vengeance Rising too, and Horde.
They also released the first Believer
solid.
album, and that thing's a fucking ripper. What an awesome album. Extraction from Mortality.
Which one's the first one? Oh yeah, yeah. Believer is killer. Well, you could check out Azbook. Azbuk. They have something from '97 called Divine Force. I really like this band called Starcross from Brazil. 2003 EP.
Starcross.
Starcross, yeah.
Interesting.
Kill the Beast. What else? There's a band called Northern Nash that seemed notable. Another band. There's a lot of Christian bands from Brazil. Seems like.
Yeah, I don't know
kinda
why
makes
Brazil
sense.
was a hotbed of that. There was one from Italy, I think, called Suspiria Profundus. And I only have In War Against Satan, I think. But that was pretty good. That was on another Christian record label called Sullen Records.
Destroy the
There's some
Satanic
stuff on there.
Pantheon.
Yes.
In
Oh,
War Against
Azbook were on
Satan.
we're on Sullen Records as well. That makes sense.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
interesting.
a lot of these
it's
bands.
kind of unaware of a lot of this stuff.
Surprising.
Yeah, like
Well, I mean,
metal
we all
satanic.
know Horde, right? But Horde is fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
that was an amazing album.
Yeah, and isn't there a connection between Horde and Paramecium, or am I imagining?
Mortification, I think.
I know there is to Mortification, but
Oh, Paramecium too. Yeah, there
well, at
you go.
any rate, yeah, the guy is kind of that Jason something guy. Seems like he got around, and then he's also I don't know who from Paramecium, but there was a member from Paramecium that played on one of the Kekal albums too.
Hmm.
Which I thought was weird.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to like what the hell is I always call them Kekal. Is Kekal?
Kekal,
I call-
Kankle,
I don't know, dude.
Kekal.
Kekal.
Goddamn it.
Cankle.
Yeah, they're kind of interesting. From Indonesia, relatively early stuff, right?
Yeah, like 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe like 95 or 96, they had a demo. Had a demo out. Yeah, maybe a demo in 95, demo in 96, and then this album recorded in 97 and released 98.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a weird corner, and the fact that it's from Indonesia, Jakarta, kind of gives it another layer of obscurity, you know. Like when we were talking about finding good stuff amongst the bottom tiers, you know, a lot of that you find a lot of that just because it's from the periphery, you know, it's from the periphery of the empire, like out Southeast Asia or some other, you know, the outskirts.
Yeah,
And
the
it seems
third world
Yeah.
bands.
yeah, essentially, and it seems man, better. Like it takes longer for trends to kind of maybe get around when you're in the periphery, and we just find more original stuff. Or like, let's say you might be like, okay, yeah, death metal's not so great after '94 or whatever, but you can go to Brazil South America and finds amazing original ripping shit from late 90s, early 2000s. And I think it's the same way with this stuff,
Yeah, it's almost like uncharted
Something
territory,
about the
kind
lag
of
time.
the mid 2000s or early 2000s.
Yeah. I don't think that exists now because of the internet, everything is instantaneous, so you don't really have that lag time. But it's within that lag.
Yeah, but there's still kind of there's still a bit of mystery within that time frame, I think, though.
No, but I think he's saying like
Yeah.
after that, everything is like so at your fingertips that you're not able to have some like unique sounds because you're able to hear everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
like these guys are working in the dark, or maybe they're working off of one or two or a handful of releases that they've heard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
so like
these places were micro
every-
scenes, right? Like,
Yeah. I think I don't know. I heard Kekal got some recognition and they did like a mini European tour, but I don't think that was until the early 2000s. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure who knew about them. They obviously knew about some bands.
Yeah, I actually didn't read any reviews or anything about this album, but it was kind of unexpected to me how kind of eclectic it is. There's a ton of shit going on. At first, I thought this was more of
Absolutely.
a kind of standard black metal release, but there's like every genre is pretty much touched upon within basically each song, I think, and even like
seems
stuff
like it.
outside of metal too.
Really? Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, tell us, man, what the hell is going on the Beyond the Glimpse of Dreams?
Wait, before that, so Shannon, you're basically asking for like kind of album blocks episodes of like covering more than one album within
yeah.
like a
Yeah, right.
style
So,
or
like-
like a kind of
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you want to have a Christian metal episode and just like touch on a hand,
I think that is a good idea. I have something in
cover a lot
mind.
of ground.
I have something in mind for two albums. So maybe we'll start there.
All right, we got
maybe for Black Metal History Month,
Yeah.
we'll start there for me.
We'll start working harder
Diligently.
for Shannon.
Yeah, we will work hard. We will work harder for all of you.
Oh, and another thing, Shannon,
Count on it.
have you noticed? I think a few times I mentioned you in the descriptions. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but I didn't notice it for the longest time. And then one day I was like, I bought, for whatever reason, I decided to read the description, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah, it was already, it's already surprising that sometimes my name, I'll hear my name pop up, and it'll be like a Philip K. Dick novel, like my radio is now talking to me and it knows my name. It's like,
we just want to make sure you're paying
commenting on me.
attention.
I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
there's a small handful of people who are gonna hear their names shouted out in this thing.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Vince usually gets fucking abused in the on this podcast.
He gets hammered, you guys.
Vince, little Vince.
You don't know though. I
never
think
saw
it's the
it.
last episode.
Yeah, the last episode is probably the worst.
Yeah,
It hasn't come out yet. It'll be out Thursday.
excoriated.
The listeners know that Vince gets hammered.
I only felt a little bad because I have a friend named Vince Voodoo, who's like, he's actually a luminary in Stockton. He's in a pretty infamous punk band in the 80s called the Hot Spit Dancers. Recommended if you can find anything by him.
Okay.
And he's quite a guy, but he's like physically he's diminutive. He's kind of a small and compact, petite man. Wears glasses and he looks very studious and bookish.
Studious.
And when you guys talk about your Vince, I kind of conflate it with my Vince.
They're all the same.
All these Vinces are the same.
Yeah. Well, don't be too hard on the Vinces.
We'll just be hard on ours.
Well, if he had it coming. So
yeah, back to
yeah. So I mean,
Kekal.
fuck. Kekal.
Back to the Keck.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this album. I guess it is a black metal album. I guess I saw an interview. They're called like a purist black metal band. Um,
Very true.
Purist.
Like
Yeah.
in a spiritual
And-
sense, I think, right?
yeah. And I'm not sure what, but I don't know how much black metal they were getting into. No, I did look at a couple things. I didn't research them really too much, but I did see an interview from '98, and he was talking about this album. And he says his influences were like, it didn't really tell me much. It was kind of like the same. Every interview I've read with bands from that time period, it's the same three answers, same three bands in every single interview. You know, they just say like Bathory, Venom, or something like that. You know,
Hmm.
Celtic Frost. These guys, they did mention Bathory, along with Iron Maiden, Trouble. Trouble is a big blind spot for me. I feel like I would like them, but there's rarely a full album on YouTube, and I don't listen to songs on YouTube. I don't have the patience, so I
Yeah,
haven't
switch
really
their
heard
own.
Trouble. But I think there's some spots on the album though where I was like, I think this is the Trouble thing that's coming in. But you know, for some people, black metal was kind of almost done by the time this came out. Or shit, is this second wave? Is this the second wave influence, strongest influence on these guys?
I'd say so.
It definitely
It's kind of
sounds
hard
like
to tell. Like there are some black metal riffs here, but there's also like kind of thrash riffs on here, and like even
Yeah.
even like death doom riffs.
But the
like,
vocals-
it's kind of weird.
But it kind of echoes the what happened in Southeast Asia for that kind of time frame, right? Because black metal, with the exception of like the more extreme thrasher stuff like Radar and Abor and things like that, the more second wave kind developed a bit more later in like Malaysia, Singapore, and I guess Indonesia. And so I hear things like As Sahar, Rudra, and I know they're not from that area, but like very early Malakesh, kind of like banging around in there. And I'm not saying that they were necessarily influenced by these bands, but in terms of similarities, that's kind of what I draw parallel to, especially for things like As Sahar, because that was in that general region. They were from Malaysia, if I remember correctly. I think that kind of communal sound between the countries kind of had it. And I mean, you can hear like also similar things in like bands like Langsur and Mystic, but yeah, no, they kind of had a bit their own thing going on, but I also hear regional influences in there for sure.
Well, the vocals are really. I mean, the ones that sound the most sort of standard black metal, which is the majority of the vocals. You guys are gonna have to help me as far as like I don't know exactly what they're listening to and getting these vocals from, because it's all kind of a monolith to me. You know, I haven't listened to enough black metal.
Man, I think
Black metal was another sort of thing. I was just
the weird
Right.
thing is like the most comparable vocals for this came out like way later. Behexen, that shit, like his vocals remind me of Behexen like crazy.
It kind of reminds me of the
Really?
summoning vocals.
Summoning
Like
too,
crazy.
because I just hear like you
listen-
could hear like him spitting venom, like we said with the Behexen.
yeah.
Yeah,
There
it's
are
really
more
like
extreme
almost
vocals.
like he's like hawking up a loogie or
Yeah,
something.
like the tongues out and everything. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that thing.
really fucking feral. Like there's more extreme vocals by this time for sure, but there's something really vitriolic, feral about this guy's delivery.
Dude, and then like out
Oh,
of nowhere
speaking of
on the second song, there's like doing fucking gore grind vocals and shit too.
Yes, you guys, there's more than one place on this album where it reminded me nothing so much, and this is mainly because of the vocals in these particular spots. It's reminded me of Galicia. How do you say it? Galicia.
Galicia.
How do you pronounce your band name? Galicia.
We say Galicia. It might be
I got it.
pronounced differently, but
Yeah, people
that's how we
say
say it.
Galicia.
Even they don't even know.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
say
I don't know.
they say Galicia, and yeah, we don't know Galicia.
Yes, something about a couple of things. Something about the multiple styles of vocals at the same time, and also some of the guitar. It reminded me of Galicia, which was weird, and
I think they're going for a maximalist thing definitely here too.
yeah.
You know, which is like sort
It's-
of our
I found
idea,
it-
but they're doing it more in a little bit more of a subdued way, kind of.
There's a drum machine on this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's a
Yes.
man.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yes.
kidding.
No, but like on tracks
On
like
the,
like behind those images, like that really pushes into the maximalist territory because it goes into kind of Inhuman Overdrive's kind of sound, which makes it obvious it's
yeah.
a drum machine, but it does give that like over the top maximalist kind of approach.
Bro, I can blast that fast. What are you talking about? I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah, but you don't sound mechanical.
Yeah, I'm out of time.
The guy from Winter Solace
Yeah, on the
all
second-
sounded like he thought he was a drum machine.
Oh yeah, with the earliest releases.
He's like, he like wrote up a thing. He's like, they finally got a real drummer. It's like, what? Where are you getting this information from?
Paul the Robot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
On the second track, Armageddon, the drum machine really starts
say,
popping
what-
off. It becomes really evident to me.
mhm.
It goes into overdrive, but I love it.
But I'll say
And I don't really have a problem with drum machines because
go ahead.
go. Oh, I was just gonna say I don't really have a problem with drum machines in general because a lot of the music I was listening to before I was listening to this kind of stuff, it was all synthetic, you know,
Yeah, I think I'm
Clock
like
DVA or Skinny Puppy.
I'm like coming around to like noticing a lot of my favorite releases are with like a drum machine. So there's like Catasexual, Reek, and
Yeah,
Horde of Worms, this, and yeah, they're all just like drum machine bands, and Satan's Almighty
You know-
Penis. It's just like, I don't know, just when it's done well and they use it in a way that you can tell it's a drum machine and they're like actually taking advantage of that instead of trying to
Right.
like make it seem like it's a human. It's like just lay into it more and it's just part of the music and it's just great.
yeah.
You know, the one I never
Your
noticed was a
sonic
drum machine that just blew my mind was the Full Moon demo from '95, Poland. That I listened to that album for like 15 years before reading that it was a drum machine. I never even realized.
Yeah, I never realized that either. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember reading on the Nuclear War Now forums. I'm like, no fucking way. And I go back and check like my tape insert. I'm like, yeah, there's no one credited on drums. Okay.
No, Fred, you got the real drummer edition.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
You got the limited to one.
One.
Well, I definitely don't think it needs not be a deficit. You know, like I love Big Black, and that's like the most basic drum machine sort of sound you can get.
Yeah.
And, it's fine. It's fine. It's great. I wouldn't want a real drummer, you know, in these instances.
I was gonna say, hey, no, just kidding.
What a wonderful time to play.
The AIs are taking my job.
Get
man.
along with each other.
No.
So it's the Arthur theme song.
But Shannon, I guess
Yes.
I was gonna say, Kekal, who are they and what are they to you, and like how'd you find them and all that sort of good stuff.
Yes. What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah,
Well,
what happened?
as you know, I cast a I cast a wide net when I'm browsing around or eating cast-offs in the internet, and I found them, but I didn't. I didn't really cotton to him until the months leading up to talking to you guys, and I actually had other releases like in my back pocket or whatever that I would have chosen first, but somehow this band got in my way, and I kept going back to it, and once I sent you that email saying I just I answered it right away. I was just okay, go beyond the dreams, and then I was like, why did I do that? I don't know. It's because it's really a
Can't
it seems
unsend
more
that.
like an album that would be an album. Yeah, it would be like better if I was a guitar player and dissecting it, because as I might have mentioned, I don't play instruments, and I don't even know if I appreciate music in the proper way like this, so. But fuck, man, there's something about the way they construct songs that it seems like they're like punching above their weight. Like it's like I think they were pretty young when they made this. Judging from the history of the band, they've been around for so long now. This came out so long ago. They must have been pretty young. And I'm not sure if the playing is like super.
It's pretty ambitious. It's
great.
There really isn't anything generic about this whatsoever. It's pretty original sounding, I would say.
I wasn't sure because I don't know enough black metal to really tell if I'm hearing like a sort of an approximation of just what was around at that time, or if they're if these metal if like the high pitched black metal vocals are that distinctive. But I was just impressed the way the songs were constructed. It seemed like I'm assuming the main guy, he's usually the one doing interviews, and I think he's guitarist and vocals, Jeff. They got these weird Americanized first names.
Jeff Ray.
Yeah, he seemed to. Someone knew how to build a song, dude, because really impressed. At first I thought it was kind of maybe this is like a pastiche of just black metal styles glued together, but after listening to it, I feel like it's pretty sophisticated in the construction, even if the playing might not be the best per se.
The playing is actually pretty impressive to me, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you don't really hear anything
I've
like
noticed
this.
Really? Well, I've noticed bands around this era in Indonesia. I found a few of them. I don't know, like, if it's indicative of all of them, but the ones I've heard, they all seem to have a really good grounding in like rock music, like fucking rock and hard rock, and it's weird. It's weird to hear because it'll come out.
Yeah, they got a little blues solo.
What's this other bit?
in the song.
There's and I fucking, like I was saying before, I fucking love it when like out of the middle of this cacophony I'm hearing some like Saturday night rock and roll fucking motherfucker, like what the fuck is where does hard rock riff come from? But I can I vibe with
fucking
it.
Motherfucker.
So yeah, they're from Jakarta. They're from Indonesia, which is pretty fucking far out there, in between the Philippines and Australia, I guess. It's probably a lot further away from Australia than it looks on the map, because the maps are kind of skewed, but when they lay them out flat. But I think it's pretty isolated. And I guess these lads were Christian, or I guess they're against. They say they're against institutional Christianity and institutional religion, and it kind of into anarchism. And it really they seem to have a strong DIY ethic. I don't think any of their records has been released like on an actual label. They release all their own stuff. They do their own album covers and recording, mixing, mastering. And it's gotten to the point where, as was previously mentioned, they don't even belong in a band anymore. There's no members in the band. So it's become anonymous. but there's something about this record that it is one of those records that to me that it matches the cover perfectly. Because while this does sound at times pretty vicious and very black metal-y, it's not cold. It's not cold at all. It's I don't know if it has to do with the part of the world it's from or the ideas behind it, but it's really inviting to me. You know, it's at least it's approachable. It has a really warm tone, and I'm sure some of that is the recording. It was recorded on a 16-track analog setup, and probably pretty bare bones budget-wise, you know, production. So it has a really inviting, warm, fuzzy analog sound, and it is, and like that pastoral, lush cover is perfect. You know, like it sounds like you know you're getting hit with like sunlight dapples from coming through the canopy of foliage above your head. You know, and at the same time, it's really cavernous. The whole album has like that sort of cavernous sound. That I wouldn't normally say is like warm, but that's how I read it. I don't know about you guys, but
Nice. I think I'll say by my spiel about this band. Found them maybe like 2 years ago.
Yeah, pretty recent.
They were the album that came up for me was 1,000 Thoughts of Violence, and from there I went on to their fifth album, Acidity, which was like a weird kind of like like alt rockish.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the alt rock that I actually like Hum and
Yeah, it's
Overwhelming Color Fast and shit.
alt rock, but then they'll throw in like some black metal riffs here and there, and then from there I went into going back into their catalog a bit. So I checked out The Painful Experience and Embrace the Dead, but I didn't get to this one yet in particular, and it's becoming one of my favorites of theirs. All their albums,
Really?
1 through 5, have been just like solid listens all the way through for me. Like this is like a band that I need to check out their whole discography, because I hear they get into like electronic territory a bit later.
yeah,
So I think that would just be
that's
interesting.
usually a red flag for me.
But with this release, like when Dan mentioned that you were picking it, I was like, oh yeah, Kekal. I was like, yeah, I love all their shit. So I go on their their like big cartel basically, and I just like bought this this album shirt because the other one was like Acidity and like just a logo shirt. So yeah, got that one coming on the way. So this is definitely
Hell yeah.
one of my many millions of thousands of favorite albums. But yeah, it's definitely in there. Like this one all the way through is like just so unique, and this band as a whole seems like they saw Psy walk and then they ran.
Psy. Oh, Psy. Yeah.
Yeah, because like
Maybe so. That's yeah.
Yeah, because they're like changing
Good comparison.
pretty much every release. It's like almost like a
Yeah.
even I don't know, like Psy goes back to more like rock influence shit, where this is kind of more grounded in like heavy metal, and I think what really makes that like warm sound that you're hearing is like almost like an influence from like Greek black metal, because there's straight up in Armageddon like a riff like right from Rotting Christ, Ferment Thy Gift, right in the middle of it, where it's like a palm muted thing. It's like do 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 do.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I can hear a lot of like just the heavy metalisms coming from this, and not only in
I
like
should have known it would.
their leads, but also like just their straight riffing. They'll have like straight chug parts, and I swear in the song that I'm gonna pick, there's like the main like GBK-esque riff in there too. That's like fucking just unbelievable.
Wow. That's limited.
Yeah, I
You know,
love
I tried to
this
listen
band.
to I tried to listen to was it 1,000 Thoughts of Violence?
Mm-hmm.
And it has not clicked for me. It fuck, what did it sounded at first listen it sounded like nothing so much as it sounded like Grand Declaration of War crossed with the Deftones or something. Skiing like a
Whoa.
really
Not,
and not in a good way for me. Like it was reminding me of like a lot of early 2000s stuff that I was aware of, but I wasn't really feeling. Like I can't think of any examples. Maybe just like screamo stuff, kind of.
yeah.
So I'm gonna have to
I,
marinate
I
in
think
that
what
for a
like
while.
really clicked with me for that album was just like it seems like the 1,000 Thoughts of Violence are just like 1,000 riffs because like every song has like so many different changes and like Dan said, like going for like a huge like maximalist approach to music where there's not really any restraints on where they're pulling from because even in this album I think the song right after what was it Behind Those Images, the beginning of it sounds like the fucking Death and Roll Zizma era shit, and they kind of go all over the place with what they hear, but with the later albums they kind of expand even more, which is like mind-boggling. You don't really think you can go anywhere from here, but they do,
Yeah.
and especially with like the restraints they have of just basically being like two guitar players and then programming the drums and making a sound for themselves. It's just like they're incredible, and these guys are like for sure one of my top bands. Just from those 5 albums I listened to, I got to go through the rest. But yeah, I really enjoyed this record, and from what I've seen, people like compare it to, just due to the goth or the female vocals, are like, oh, this is Cradlefield, this is Symphonic Black. I'm like, how are you like even reducing it down to like one genre of something? It's just
Yeah. Maybe
it's
that
like
was just that part of the song I heard.
yeah, exactly. It's
Do
all
you even black metal, bro?
yeah, it's just all encompassing metal. But I know Fred. Have you checked out this band much other than like that like demo?
No, I really haven't. I've known the name for a while, but I've never actually had a chance to really listen to them. So, listening to Glimpse for this episode was kind of my first real introduction to them.
What's the verdict?
So I haven't checked out the other albums. It sucks, man. Like, no, I like it.
I was kind of happy when Fred said that. I was like, all right, contradiction. Oh, man.
No, like
we can't all gush over it.
it's no. I mean, like that's not.
I
Gonna
really
work for me,
did
though.
smile
Like,
when you said, oh, it sucks, man. I was like, oh,
Fred's
cool.
catchphrase. Love to hear it.
As soon as Fred said that, in my head, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, man.
it's never happened before.
Fuck yeah.
Well, the problem is we have the 3 of us, and the people who come on have fucking good taste. So it's hard to get some dissension among the.
Yeah.
We need to get someone on here with like shit taste.
All right, next
So we
That
can be
would be
like,
funny.
what the fuck
Next-
did you pick this for?
next guest. We have
Next
to
episode.
we have to find a poser.
Find a poser.
Yeah. But
It's an interesting
no,
idea.
like I'm
We have
I'm a sucker
Chris
for
Guerrero or
Southeast-
something.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for Southeast Asian bands. Malaysia,
Me too.
Singapore, Indonesia. The bands I've heard are awesome, except for the like slam brutal death metal started coming out of Indonesia after that. I
Yeah,
don't
what the
really
hell?
have it. You know what, Paul? We
Yeah,
can
but
pick
there's
one of
some
those
good
episodes, then we can
examples,
argue. But this is a much more varied album than I expected, especially on tracks like what the fuck's it called? Escaping Eternal Suffering.
Over the clean singing.
Yeah, that's a wild kind of track. That reminded me of Sad Legend a bit, especially on that second, the EP, Searching for the Hope in Utter Darkness.
That one kind of reminded me of like Italian
South
prog.
Korea.
Sorry?
The Korean band.
Sad Legend from South Korea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Asian comparisons.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. But you're not going to hear any Japanese comparisons though, because they were just out to lunch.
Oh, I already said
But,
Psy.
You already said Psy.
Well, not for me.
Not musically, but as a band and their trajectory into albums. But
Yeah,
anyway.
no, there's similarities between Kekal and Psy. I mean, they're both comprised of members
Asians.
at times.
Ah!
So, but there's one
Racist.
Singaporean album and band in general that it kind of reminded me of, and this might have just been a production thing. But there's a really good album that came out back in 2004 by a band called NetherRealm. The Occultist Omnibus.
I'm making a note.
And they released a demo before that just under the name Realm. And the sound on that reminded me a lot. Sorry, the sound on this Kekal album reminded me a lot of that album for some reason. But which is a
I heard
good
that Realm
thing. I
demo,
think so.
and
Dark Winds.
I heard the demo by Realm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's got like a yellow and orange cover or something.
Yeah,
Yep,
yellow.
that's the one.
Kekal.
So that album, the Occultist Omnibus, actually has those tracks as bonus at the end. It's a fantastic album, and like no one ever talks about this. This one's like buried in time.
Well, you don't talk about it, bro. I would listen.
Maybe I will make it a pick one of these days. I'll post something on my Instagram that's gonna be like, here's something very well known death metal. And Paul's gonna be like, "Oh, he's gonna pick that," and I'll whip out NetherRealm.
Yeah, I'm like checking this YouTube video. 37 views 8 years ago for this album.
Yeah, there's a track on there
That
called
sounds promising.
"Unspoken Passages" that just absolutely rips. What an awesome song! But and the vocals kind of remind me of Kekal as well, and they're not quite as varied, but they have that throatier sound to them. So, anyways, all that to say, this is a cool album, and the album cover on this particular version that I've been looking at is like the jungly thing. It's so appropriate. It kind of
Hell yeah.
just feels like a tropical kind of album, even though I'm not sure I would feel that way if I didn't see that cover and I only heard the music. But that cover combined with the music gives it a very unique kind of vibe.
I remember what
So
I
it's
was
pretty
gonna
cool.
say. It's kind of interesting
It's not your turn, Paul.
Well, you brought up a point before I lose it.
Yeah, no, I was done anyways. So.
So, all these, second wave bands, they have pictures of, like, their forests and whatnot, but, like, this is basically what they have, like, all
Yeah,
this.
this is our forest.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I just had a
looks
thought about
tribal.
that when I was looking at that. Yeah, looks,
Same damn thing.
yeah, but Dan, last but not least, what do you think?
I like this. I liked it a lot more than I expected. I kind of expected this to be a little bit more normal, like normal black metal album, but it totally isn't. There's like shit from all over the place on here. I remember you showed me that one album. I forget what it's called already. That first one that you had discovered,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking it was pretty interesting. And then at some point, I think we both discovered that music video for "A Dream for a Moment" is the name of the song,
Yeah.
which has now become one of my favorite like alt rock, just alt rock songs. There's like a handful of alt rock songs that I always come back to. This is one of them, along with like Paw or Jesse by Paw, that song "It's Tomorrow," Overwhelming Color Fast, that fucking Japanese band Supercar. There's like a handful of these like really spacey sounding Hum Pod, that's another one too. There's like a handful of these songs that are all pretty similar, and yeah, that's pretty much all I ever come back to when it comes to Kekal is that one song. That's like the hit for me. But yeah, as far as a metal band goes, they're really interesting. Like not only are the riffs like put together in a cool way where it like makes it original sounding, but the riffs themselves are all pretty like on their own.
Yeah, like every
Like
single
I've never
one.
really heard any other bands kind of play exactly the way these. Almost yeah, just about every single one. There's like a few comparisons that I can make when we actually listen to a track. But yeah, I'm really impressed by this release, especially like the year that it comes out. And I guess I shouldn't be too surprised by a band from like region wise being original like this. Usually bands coming from these areas are pretty. Yeah, they usually are pretty impressive with like their originality anyway. So yeah, I did like this a lot. If there's any drawbacks, maybe it's like the drum machine doesn't sound totally great, but it also doesn't sound like terrible. So you know,
You're
I think
alone.
I think
You're alone on that one.
well, I don't give a shit. Yeah, yeah. Overall, pretty great. Does anybody want to get into a track here? We can dissect that a little
no.
bit. Okay,
No, I'm good.
that's fine. Okay,
You know what?
okay.
I might. You guys, I think I have to. I have to unplug my earbuds, and I know it's going to cause problems.
All right, let's go on a break real quick, and then we'll go back. All right, we're back from the break, and it's
Kekal.
yeah,
1
it's
hour later.
we're time to get into some tracks. So
Let's get into it.
yeah, so
Let's just
you
get
picked
into something more comfortable.
Spirit, so let's hear your thoughts on that track.
Man, it's to me it's my second favorite track on the album. It drops in so fucking cleanly, and with this synth line, really nice. By the way, on this entire album, there's really restrained use of synth in it. And I think on this song, and there's 2 other tracks that I have in mind where it works fucking aces.
Yeah, that's why I think it's.
I don't know what I'm going to say about it because it does switch up several times during the track, and it's also the longest track on here. It's like 6 minutes or something. But I probably will have more to say after we hear it. I just I just knew that this track had to get picked by somebody. That's why I said Spirits, because I had to make sure it would get on this episode.
Yeah. All right, we're back from listening to Spirits.
Oh my God! How long have we been gone?
Like 6 minutes.
So long.
6 minutes.
Dude, you know what? It seemed like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
all the
That's
transition
not
for
so
all these riffs and like how sort of like far away each of them are. It's like still such a cohesive song. Like
Yeah, I
they're
can't
coming from
believe it.
different styles. Like the way it comes in with the intro, and then into like that mean mugging riff that we just heard on the outro too.
Yeah.
Starting it off.
It's not forced or clunky at all. It's really fits together well. That the thing that got me just juiced on this song is that it starts off with well, not at the very beginning, but it kind of it's making like this almost like a riff that's kind of square. It goes like and then it gets going, and then it brings that same, and then it plays it faster, right? The thrashy riff, and it does it fast, right? It goes like
Yeah.
That last little dance is from like a minute before that, and it fucking, I was like, that's sick, because it made sense why they were playing that before, and then and as soon as it takes off like that, those fucking vocals, those vocals are just, they're joyous, dude. They literally almost sound happy. Like, this is the bounciest song. Like, if I had a shitty house, I would have smashed holes in all my walls every time I hear it. Really can't.
This song makes you want to burn Hot Pockets.
Holy fuck, dude! Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I have identical twin 10-year-olds.
And they burnt the Hot
Tried to burn
Pockets.
the house down.
Ah,
Burn the
okay.
house down while we were talking. Oh my god, dude! Yeah, that shit is amazing. That is one of a few moments on this album that make me fucking just grin like stupidly. Like, holy, this is so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments like that on this album for me, but yeah, with the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
especially.
that's just genius. And then those vocals are, it's kind of insanely good, beyond criticism, I think.
Yeah.
And then
True.
the riff it goes out on, when you said, I heard you say, I love this riff.
Mm-hmm.
That is killer too.
Oh, with the synth over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's fucking perfect. I
Yeah.
was really surprised.
And like what you were saying before we listened to the track, you were saying how like the synth work on here is like so restrictive, and like when it's actually being utilized, it's like just like perfect. It seems like even if it wasn't there, the song would be great, but it just kind of elevates it, and they don't use too much of it, and that's why I'm kind of like,
No.
what the hell? Why are they considered symphonic black metal? It's like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would not consider this symphonic black metal, just purely because it's not really, it's not maximal in that sense.
I would call it avant-garde metal.
It's
Arg.
maximal, but not from the keyboards. Yeah, good work on those guys. I forgot to mention. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that I read, I should say, all four of the main members did vocals on this album, and they also had 3 guest vocalists, so 7 vocalists.
Damn.
I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
I
hear
think
all the
they're
different
counting-
styles.
yeah, I don't know if I heard. I mean, I feel like there's croaks, there's the high pitch, there's the growls.
And I think one particular
And-
song, maybe the 5th one, it's like a different sort of black metal vocal where it's a little bit more lazier and not so.
Oh, you
not
might be thinking about my favorite vocal part on this album, actually. And it is somewhere towards the back half of the album. I mean, yeah, in the back half. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will choose that song.
But Fred, what'd you think of this one?
The part that stands out to me on this one's actually at the very end.
The heavy
That
oh, wait.
slower chugging riff with
Yeah.
that haunting synth over the end. That part's awesome. It's so eerie. Great
Yeah,
track
it
overall,
rips.
but that part really stands out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny Boy?
My favorite riff is like the one where it like kicks in after the kind of death doom going into a thrash like intro thing, and then when it
Yes.
and then there's like some weird kind of like I don't even know what you would call it. It almost sounds like a Voivod riff or something like right before it kicks in.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like, and then it straight up sounds like Tolus to me, pure black energy, and I'm like,
I love that record.
It's like pure black energy, but it's also kind of like Dark Throne's Under the Funeral Moon or something. It's kind of a mix between those. It's very cool, cool riff.
I'm gonna have to check out that Tolus because I do like that record a lot.
Yeah,
I hadn't made that connection.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that shit makes me happy.
This is Pinnacle Unblack right here.
Yes, man.
Drake Bell makes me happy. Remember that
It's
song?
weird to think it is unblack. It feels.
Black.
A lot of the unblack I've heard just tries to be black metal and just change the lyrics around. But
Yeah,
this
this
kind of
actually feels like they're taking the black and unning it.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know if you find the album on YouTube, there's one upload that's where it's split amongst the tracks, and someone has taken the time to where if you're listening to an individual track and go to the comment section, there'll be no comments, but there will be one comment that is the lyrics to the song.
Yeah.
And as you might have surmised, the lyrics they're not like that great. They're not.
Spirits
gonna
of
blow
the
you away.
Unblack.
They're not super profound, but if you do follow along while he's singing, it kind of heightens the enjoyability a little bit. I was surprised. I was checking it out and I was like,
This is an
wow,
interesting lyric.
actually,
It says, Jesus Christ destroyed Satan's head, crushed his ugly head, victory.
All right then.
okay, that's a pretty good line, actually.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Oh, and then it says
But,
spirits of the
and even the
Unblack
song-
exist in forgiveness.
The song titles on this record, not pretty generic. It's not Cataclysm or something like that. It's just like reality, spirits, and the lyrics are not necessarily too esoteric or anything, but overall,
I would go to church
I'm
if
glad
this
you
was
guys
the
like
band.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah,
What a thing to say.
the house.
I'd be
the
in the
house band-
pews.
If this was gospel, then
No, I
I'm
mean
there.
If they
probably
destroyed
did
Satan's
play
ugly head.
They probably did play at least concerts, for a church, or maybe even in the church. I would think. I don't know, but the
Better than Demon Hunter.
Jeff says that sadly he can't make music like this anymore. I guess maybe this has to do with the shift in Kekal's sound.
Yeah, I was
said
seeing that he's like
because-
not angry anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He moved from urban Jakarta to rural Canada, and I guess he's mellowed out. And can't fake. He's so genuine that he can't fake it, so he's not going to try to fake being angry, But at this moment in time, it seems like it really captured something
Yeah.
Yes,
fairly angry.
crushing Satan's head.
Crushing
Satan.
Satan's head. And that's a common thread that runs through these Christian or so-called Christian bands that they're pissed at Satan.
Yeah, these bands are still willing to
Satan's
kill.
a real homo.
They're still
Yeah,
willing to kill, but kill evil.
yep. It's like they still have an outlet for the brutality. It's just it's kind of like a loophole.
So kind of a weird tangent, but do you guys know the Mexican band Python Girdum?
I
I
don't
love
think
that
so.
band.
No,
They
I
did a
love that
split with
band,
the
dude.
yeah they
Killer.
did a split with Dawn. That was kind of their claim to fame
They
outside
did?
of just Mexico. Yeah,
Python Girdum from Mexico, yeah.
yeah.
With
They did a split
Dawn
with
from
Dawn, Sweden.
yeah.
That was kind of what got them a bit of more exposure before their album came out. But they're not Christian, but they are specifically anti-satanic, and their lyrics revolve around like anti-Satanism. It's bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah, Satanism is
I
pretty
like knowing
lame,
that.
though.
I like knowing that about him.
I like this
Satanism
lyric.
kind of is lame.
Oh my god, this fucking album's already in my liked videos, yo. I completely forgot. Give that a re-like so I can actually retain something.
It'll be bumped up. Yeah.
Their comeback album was actually really good.
We're back.
We back.
I think the problem with satanic themes is that it just reinforces the church, you know.
I think it just reinforces like stupid hippies.
Yeah.
I like this
It's people
lyric
with
on Deceive Minds. It says, "Satanic philosophy comes from nothing but lies. When you die, you'll know who's right."
True.
Is this evidence of satanic victory?
Could be.
Not bad, but
Yeah, at least, you know, they're not preaching at you.
should
More
we
like matter of fact.
should we get into the next track then? I think Fred and Dan
Sure.
pick 4, right?
Deceived Minds.
Shared track, eh?
Let her roll.
Shared track. All right, we'll be right back.
Wow.
All right, we're back from Deceive Minds,
Woo!
the power metal track of the album.
Woo woo. Woo!
Yeah. Whew.
Everyone's
What'd you
just
guys
going,
think?
woo!
Those abrupt stops are great. Are wow. It reminds me of the way Lymphatic Phlegm songs end. It just like stops and there's kind of like a after echo.
Yeah, very, very
Yeah.
mechanical.
Yeah, just
Yeah, like the build up riff that they have is fucking so good too. And then I just love that one main melody.
The August Moon melody.
yeah. I don't usually like metal that is melodic like that or has melodies like that.
What's wrong with you, man?
Had to,
No,
I
just
know,
kidding.
well, no, because I realized I was wrong to turn my nose up at it because I'm coming around.
It's probably some of the, or at least my favorite is like when they can have that, but also be like extreme and fucking brutal within
Yeah.
the same breath. And
that's
these
kind of
guys
the
do
corner
it.
Fucking
of- I
brutal.
didn't really know that was a thing until last couple of years that you could do that.
Yeah.
That was out there.
Canvas Quintet, yo.
Yeah, the way like I don't know who thought in the band thought it was a good idea to like take that one like riff, I guess, and like just suspend it over most of the song, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just like that constant kind of tremolo, like, and to have the keyboard kind of soaring around behind it. It's just
Yeah, they're all
delicious.
taking turns on like the lead
Yeah.
aspect of the songs. And I think this is just another, well, for me, this is a perfect album.
Another fucking day in paradise.
Another perfect song for me.
Another manic Monday.
I thought maybe
Wish
it was
it was
front loaded
Sunday.
with the best songs, but
That's my fun day.
now I'm thinking that maybe they are all really good.
Well, the obvious ones that are a bit of slouchers are like 8 and 10, but those are just because it's
Well,
not
yeah.
so extreme. But for the extreme tracks, you know, the rest of the 8 of them, they're all fucking up there. But
Pretty good, huh?
yeah, it's awesome songs that we just heard. So
Did I mention or did you read the recording of the vocals for this album? He said I think they used a bathroom trash can or something. I don't know if they put a microphone in the trash can or if he had put it in front of the trash can and sang into it.
I hope it's
to get
the
that
latter.
reverb. That's how you do DIY reverb on your vocals.
Freddie, what'd you think of this one?
The opening riff caught my attention right off the bat because it sounded really out of place in that it was a very clear destruction riff to me.
Yeah, all the pull-offs.
Yeah, and then they just pull that into that kind of anxious sounding synth in the background, which felt very, I'm going to say out of place, but not, it was very noticeable on this album because it felt very different than the rest of it. So the track kind of caught my attention, but the riff you were talking about, Paul, the one that kind of takes up the majority of the song, is just such a good riff to keep playing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's very urgent, it's very dramatic, and it just makes for a great track.
Danny boy?
That intro riff that Fred was saying sounded like destruction. It does. It kind of sounds like Bestial Invasion, but it's what I like about that is it's two guitars doing like single note melodies in like a weird harmonic kind of way, and that sort of reminds me of the song Gorgoroth by Gorgoroth, where it's like an early version of something like a mid-era Roster riff. It's a really interesting one. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, great track. Should we get to the best one? In my opinion.
Wow.
I'm curious to see what it is.
It's Behind Those Images. So we'll be right back.
Wow.
Alright, we're back. You're welcome, guys. I picked the best one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, right off the bat, just like soaring melodies played in such a fierce ass way.
That's a mean harmony.
Yeah, and they go right into like a more contrasting, like Norse core sounded riff. They bring you up real high and then they bring you real low, heaven and hell, and then then they go into some like weird interstitial riff that
It's
goes
like a blocky thrash riff, but
Yeah.
it's cool.
it goes on for like so long, and then you're just like waiting for this release, and then it just gives you fucking bliss with this like heavy metal riff. It's just like and then they play it for like only 4 repetitions. They get right back into the fierce black metal riffs, and then what we all waited for was that riff one more time, played for a little bit longer. And I can probably listen to that 10-hour YouTube clip or loop of that because
Yeah, man.
it's just too good. Like I was listening every time I found my face doing like the tough guy strut face, the scowl and the lips out and all that. Yeah, just perfect song, such a short and sweet track, and my favorite. What do you guys think?
It sucked.
Concur.
Fred?
What?
No, Daddy, no.
No, Freddie, no.
That GBK
that
riff
hard
that
rock
just
riff.
pops in, just rocks.
You guys called it GBK riff?
Yeah.
It sounds like Urge Overkill to me, or something like that. Real like hard rock, but almost like nouveau hard rock, like '90s hipster hard rock. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a hipster riff.
Really fucking great, though. Just delightful.
Denny?
No, I don't really have anything else to add. You guys pretty much said you've said it all already. I will say I think not just with this song, but in its entirety, this album, I like how immediate everything is. Even some of the slower parts on like the lesser songs, it's still very kind of
Very direct.
right there and ready. I like that. Everything's like laid out and ready for you. It's a very listenable album, and that's a compliment in that regard, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point because the production is like so clear but also in a raw kind of like self-produced way. But
Yeah.
you said everything's like just right then and there for you instantly. First listen, you'll get it. And most albums that I like to listen to are ones that I don't get everything from, but like this
come
is
back a bunch of times.
But this is like, all right, I know when the parts are coming. I know it, like I know every like detail when I hear it, and when I hear those things just go off and check the marks of what I'm wanting to hear. This album does it like 100%.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like, slightly mechanical avant-garde metal release. I kind of don't even want to call it a black metal release. It's just I'd rather just say like, oh, it's a metal release.
It's just extreme metal.
Yeah, exactly. It does so much that it doesn't it can't exactly be like I think you said in the beginning of the episode where it's really hard to kind of pinpoint where
reduce it.
Yeah, like where it fits in, because it doesn't, but it is still pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like man, I lost my train of thought. That riff's just playing in my head. Yeah.
I like how it does it, and then it climbs out of the riff, kind of.
Yeah, it just and then it. Yeah, and I was gonna highlight like, just like with the earlier tracks, all these riffs seemingly like when you put them out on paper, it won't work. They're like, all right, let's do this ferocious melodic riff, and then we'll go into like a, opposite, not so consonant like Norsecore riff. Go into like some thrash, interstitial riff, into hard rock riff, and then bring it all back and play it again. It's like, all right, how's this gonna work? And then these guys just pull it off in a way that's like seamless and like fluid, but it's weird that it's simultaneously mechanical and like gridded out in a way that you can expect it when you re-listen, and it works the first time you listen to it too. It's just like great composition. And imagine you're a band and you release this as a debut. Like, fuck, like you guys are way ahead of the curve for like
I think
releasing music.
I think they must have been playing a lot of 80s heavy metal and hard rock before they got into this more extreme stuff.
Yeah, and I just think
I don't know how else to explain it, how fluid and solid they are with rock, and then coming up,
And when you mentioned like you didn't know like the technical like abilities of these guys, like how how well played
Yeah,
it was.
I don't know how to judge it.
It's like phenomenal. The programming, everything fits like so perfect. I will say, bass is a little on the low end, if there's even any.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention to the bass at all.
Yeah. But
It didn't need it though.
that's a. Yeah, it must not need it but that's a salient point because I haven't really heard it.
yeah, there wasn't like anything that
much.
popped out.
There's
Like-
a backing guitar that almost works as a bass. Like it's
Doing the
kind of
rhythms, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get in some final thoughts. Frego.
Oh, yeah, good album.
All right.
Here.
No, like I'm like I've said, I'm a fan of the.
Need 1,000
Southeast
violent
Asian-
thoughts from you.
They're all directed at you.
Fred,
I've been a shut up. No, I've been a fan of the Southeast Asian bands for quite a while, and like I said, I'd seen the name, never really checked them out, but
Fucking up,
glad I
son.
did. Yeah, I got to check out some of the other albums before they start getting a little too weird, and then I back out in fear. But yeah, I like
Don't be
this one.
afraid.
I will try finding a copy of this. I'm okay with that. Paul, go.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's been reissued. I think the first pressing was only 1,000, and then
Well, I want
got
the
re-released it.
jungle cover.
Yeah.
I think that and they sold 2,000 copies of it between the album and the CD, and I'm not sure what happened after that.
Oh, damn, the reissue
But
from
then it
2
said-
years ago, they only made 100 copies of it.
Wow, yeah, damn. Well, good luck with that. Finding
That one's on
finding
Swabby
that.
though. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, this band, one of my favorites from the first 5 albums that I heard. It's like I said, imagine this being your debut. You can't possibly follow this up,
Yeah.
but then they do. And the way that they do that is they change and experiment with their sound further and further that they go into their discography to where it seems like, oh yeah, we did that before, let's do something else. We, are capable musicians, and we're able to produce something as extreme and as weird and experimental, later on. But I think for this being the first album, it's a great jumping on point for this discography. The next album is not so far of a departure, but I think the third one is where they take the big leap. But this album, it's probably my favorite of the 5 that I've heard so far. And I'm kind of glad that I came to listening to this band's catalog the way I did, where this was the last one that I heard as of late. Because it's just like such a treat to see where this band was at and then where they came from, because it didn't come out of nowhere. They were experimental and prolific from the get-go, and this is such a great album. I was gonna bring this band on as an episode for one of my picks inevitably, but Shannon got to it first, and like I said at the beginning, no, I appreciate that someone else brought it on too, because
Someone else is as cool as you.
yeah, it's hard to find. And I think I think that this was a quintessential Shannon pick, just from wherever I see him in the comments. This is a band that I would associate with you, and I'm glad you picked it. And
Yeah.
sick ass logo, by the way, too.
Yeah, it's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it's like characters, but in its own way. Danny boy, what'd you think?
I'm watching a live video of Unblessing, who I just joined, and they're wearing gauntlets and corpse paint, so I think I'm gonna have to wear gauntlets and corpse paint on stage.
You gotta start pumping some iron to wear those again, huh?
Maybe. Nobody in this band is particularly like buff or anything.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You do it with ease.
Yeah. Pump some iron. But yeah, Kekal. This album is pretty cool. Like I said, it's a little bit clunky, but that's okay. I think this band is just overall cool. You know, they deserve some recognition. That's
They seem fearless on this song.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of like what I've heard from their later stuff. They sort of it just makes sense that they kind of experiment and veer off while like becoming an alt rock band, but still having a little bit of the metal sensibility there too. And again, it's not exactly clear what what their influences are. I mean, it honestly, it really doesn't matter. They are just cool as like an experimental kind of like heavy outfit.
Yeah, usually that's something I would like stray away from, avant-garde and experimental albums. But this one, like when that's done in such like a focused way, I tend to really like it. But when it's just kind of gimmicky and grabbing from all points and just sticking things together, it's like a huge turnoff for me. But that's
what makes this band different, is that all the riffs themselves, you know, even on this one especially, nothing feels forced, and also none of the riffs are generic in any way. So I think that just helps. It's
all a great foundation, but it's also like they're like the pillars as well. The riffs are like highlights, but also the like backbone of the band, of like any band, just having good riffs. But the way that they put these together in such like a fluid way, but also being so, like you said, clunky, and it's just like it's a feat, and I think only these guys are able to do it. Honestly,
I think the vocals help too, because they're pretty good on this.
Yeah, they're awesome. All of them. They have like the fucking gore grind vocals in there too. The other black metal vocals, female vocals aren't bad either. Clean singing,
everything's pretty solid.
Yeah, Shannon, what's your thoughts? Final ones.
I don't know if I can add much to that, but I agree with everything you said. I wasn't expecting to be impressed to this degree. Yeah, maybe it's a little clunky, but not as much as I thought. Like, and yeah, I don't know how you make all these things work, because on paper it sounds iffy. And as far as like the avant-garde and experimental, like, if I see that as a genre tag, I'm usually gonna ignore it, because I've been disappointed so many times. You know, it's like, oh, experimental death metal, that sounds great, and it's usually not. You know?
Yeah.
And I wonder. I guess they didn't. I mean, who did they influence? You know, I don't know if anyone.
Probably no one.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone would think to do this, you know.
Seriously, like, I don't hear anyone talk about this band.
Combine these styles. Oh, and Dan, you were talking about their influences. There's a list of influences besides the one interview I read. I think on Wikipedia or something. He makes a statement, but it doesn't help at all. Like the list of influences is like 100 bands, and it's like everything. It's like pop, rock, new wave, hardly any metal. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, maybe just think of them as a band from Indonesia. And that's it.
Based on your recommendation, Paul, I'm gonna check out their newer stuff.
Yeah, I can only vouch for Up to Acidity, but all those albums are great.
Dude, you know who we didn't mention that another band you showed me this kind of reminds me of? Reminds me of Coulter the Deepers.
Oh yeah, that Japanese band.
It's
Yeah.
like
What are they
alt
called?
rock with metal influences, which is possibly you know, it sounds similar to what this band is doing.
Huh.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's a great band too. But Shannon, sign us off.
Man, oh yeah, before the last thing, our last recommendation is this band Mummy from the same neck of the woods.
Mummy.
Mummy, yeah,
Mummy.
Mummy, and another one from I think it's Singapore. They're called Ibon, Eibon.
Oh, they're
Garden of
really good. I
Theophrastus.
like that band.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They're really fucking good. They have a new album out with a
Yeah, they were the really
cover.
really Greek sounding band.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, they're good.
it was wonderful. I was listening to that their newer album today. But no, that was great to get a chance to talk about this album. I'm really stoked that we're of a like mind about its quality. And yeah, that's about it.
Nice. Thanks Shannon for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
Shannon.
We
Yeah.
finally
We bow.
thanks
We
for-
bow.
yeah.
Everybody do a bow, not a shit bow. A good bow.
Dude, no.
I bowed very low.
This is probably
No shit bows
most
for
vi-
Shannon.
I did the
this is
to
probably
my
the most
knees.
venerable. This is the most venerable platform on YouTube. Seriously. I hope you
Yeah, it
guys
is.
don't stop for a long time.
I think we
And,
have at
I
least
saw- I
like
s-
3 episodes left in us.
Yeah.
Let's at least get to 100, guys. Come on.
Come on.
No, but thanks, man. We're glad
Yeah.
to get behind the
We're
you
glad
know,
we have a
username.
listener.
Yeah, and a great one at
Yeah,
that.
you got more than one, dude. But yeah, you have just enough right now. Feels cozy.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, I'll see you guys.
bye, guys.